This video will go over the process for entering receipts in HDS Win and also briefly explain how the receipt will be placed in the most recent open batch for that cash receipt location. First, to take a receipt, you must pull up the tenant ledger of the person you are working with by going under Tenant Accounting and Tenant Ledger Receipts and Adjustments. Here, we just need to search for the tenant who's making the payment and select their account. Once selected, you'll see the tenant's opening and ending balance for the current month. And depending on the day that you are pulling up the ledger, you may also see the next month displayed as well. To take a receipt, we simply select the option titled Receipt at the bottom, and it will take us to the receipt entry screen. And for our example, I just want to switch so that we're only looking at 1 month when we pull this up. Here in the receipt entry screen, we have the option to select a cash receipt location to send the payment to. We can also enter in the date of the payment, the type of payment received, usually cash, check, or money order, as well as select where on the ledger the payment should be applied. On our example, the standard code 21 will post to the 4 AR columns, and we also have codes posting to the various security and pet deposit columns on the ledger. After typing the amount receipted next to the form of payment and the reference number, if applicable, for example, the check number or the money order number, we then need to apply the payments to the columns on the ledger. If you select Auto Apply, it will first automatically post to the 4 AR columns in order. So here we saw the first 323 went to rent, then it paid $58.06 to utilities, and then $50 to miscellaneous charge because that was what was due. And we must have had a little money left over. Whatever the difference between $450 and $431.06, that's basically the amount that was placed on rent. Normally, by default, anything that's extra beyond what's owed in AR is just going to be placed in the rent column to pay towards next month's rent. In some cases, you might want that extra payment to go to security deposit or pet deposit instead, or if you were a mutual help home, maybe you want any extra payments to go to VIPA. Normally, our system is just going to automatically put it in rent when you hit auto apply, but you can manually change it. So if I put 323 here, I could put that remaining amount, which I think would be $18.94. Yep, $18.94. I could put that in security or pet deposit if necessary, but in our case, there's nothing owed for the deposits, so I'm just going to let that extra $18 go into rent. You can have us change where the extra payments will go to by default by contacting our support department at 608-786-2366 extension 2. We can also select the option Deposit Due if available to see if our tenant owes any payments to their deposits. Here we can see they don't. And we can enter in some comments related to the receipt payment. By selecting Save as Default, the comment that you have typed in will become the default comment for all receipts that go to this particular cash receipt location. So basically, when you come in, if I were to hit Save as Default, every time I take a receipt, it's already going to say payment for February rent. To finish and print the receipt, we just select Save. In the next screen, we have the option to print or preview the receipt and select the specific printer we want to send it to. You can make that your selected printer the default receipt printer by selecting Set as Default Receipt Printer. I don't happen to have any receipt paper in my printer, so I'm just going to preview it so that it creates the receipt. Once you finish printing, we are sent back to the main Tenant Ledger screen. If you failed to print the receipt before saving it, you can select the receipt on the ledger and use the option Print Receipt to reprint it. We can now see our receipt in the list, reducing the balance on the Tenant Ledger. So here we can see that it's coming in paying the $341.94 over here, the $58.06, and the $50. We can also view the receipt in its deposit batch by selecting Batch Report. A receipt will always be placed in the current open batch for that cash receipt location, and if no open batch exists, it will create one. For more information regarding the receipt batches and the batch report, please refer to the batch report and reassign receipt batch videos.